As you already may know, if you're a real, true, hardcore boxing fan, you know that Teofimo Lopez got offered 3 fight deals, 3 fights for him to choose, and Bob Arum is waiting on him to decide. The ball is in his court. Teofimo Lopez. Turki Alishik has offered him a 3 fight deal that's not going to be easy. It's going to be a tough. Each fight is going to be a challenge. It's not an easy fight. Like I said before in a previous video, that Teofimo Lopez knows that his fighting skills are declining and his mental state is not 100%. So he's trying to capitalize the most that he can on the biggest fights possible to make the most money before he loses, because he knows that if he loses to a Subriel Matias, he's not going to be able to get the bigger fights that he wants, because that fight right there, that we're going to give him $3 million. But if he takes a fight before the bigger fights that he wants, he will not be able to be promoted the way he wants to, and he will not get the big elite top fighters that he wants. So I think he definitely ducked Subriel Matias because he don't believe in himself and he doesn't have what it takes. So he's going to take the biggest fights possible to lose and go out on with a bang, losing. And I don't think that these 3 fights presented to him by Turki Alishik is going to be an easy fight, because the first fight is supposed to be a Hitchison fight. Hitchison is supposedly supposed to fight Kambosos. I don't know why Kambosos is even deserving to these people to get a title fight when he's lost back-to-back fights with Devin Haney and other fights as well. So I feel like they're just using his name and they're giving him the opportunity. But I think a lot of other fighters that would have lost the way he did back-to-back, they would have never got the opportunity. But I guess they have the right connections, they have the right promoters, and they're living off the past that he won. Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez, but at the same time, I feel like this fight with Hitchison that Teofimo Lopez is getting offered is the first fight from the Turki Alishik deal. I feel like that fight is not even winnable for Teofimo Lopez, because I feel like he struggles with boxers. He has problems and issues with boxers. He does, and everybody knows this. Sandor Martin gave him problems. He got Sandor Martin problems. He has Jermaine Ortiz problems. If he has problems with those kind of fighters and they gave him a gift decision, which a lot of people that really know boxing know he lost that fight, then he's definitely going to have trouble. He's going to have trouble with Hitchison. And I'm not saying Hitchison is the greatest, but he is a great boxer. He did look good in his performance, but Hitchison was avoiding Subriel Matias as well. And you know that everybody's avoiding Subriel Matias like the plague. He lost a close decision to Liam Pardo. They're making it seem like he lost by a wide margin. And I know that it was boxing politics. They worked out something in the deal because he didn't have an exclusive deal with Eddie Hearn. So that's the reason why they exploited Subriel Matias. And they made a deal with him where he was his own pay-per-view if he lost the fight and didn't try to win with Liam Pardo. That's what happened. Those are facts. And yes, how you doing? How you doing? Subscribe to my channel. Tony also knows boxing. Mr. Mean Bean, salute to you. Thanks for tuning into my channel. I appreciate you. Subscribe to that channel. Click that like button. If you want to know the truth and you want to hear the truth, you got to subscribe and like my channel and tune into my channel. I'm the realest right now. I'm giving you the unadulterated truth that most boxing content creators are not giving you. I'm not saying there's not good content creators out there. There is. But I am one of the best. I am one of the best. And you will see in due time. But that's the first fight that they're offering Teofimo Lopez, Turki Alishik, and Bob Arum. It came out of his mouth. It came out of his mouth. There's not no third parties or second parties. It's a first party directly through the horse's mouth. Bob Arum said it himself in the interview. And the first fight is going to be Teofimo Lopez versus Richard Hitchison, which is not a winnable fight for Teofimo Lopez. And the second fight is going to be Jaron Boots Ennis. Jaron Boots Ennis. And I feel like that fight is definitely not easy for Teofimo Lopez. He doesn't even dominate at the 140-pound division. So how is he going to dominate at the 147? Salute to you, Nkanu. Salute to you, my brother. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Don't be afraid to click that like button. Don't be afraid to subscribe to the truth. Subscribe to the truth. If you want something that's going to be edifiable to your mind and your soul and your spirit, giving you the truth, good, great content that you're going to appreciate. No biased opinions here. Just calling it for what it is. So he's going to have struggle. He's going to struggle. Teofimo Lopez is going to struggle with any fight presented to him. based on what I saw as far as the contract consists of 3 fights. It's going to be the first fight, Richardson Hitchens, and the second fight is going to be Jerron Boots Ennis, and the third fight is going to be Devin Haney, supposedly. That's what they're offering him. And the ball is in Teofimo Lopez's court. Bob Arum said that they asked him, is it going to be with different management? Is it going to be with the same management? And Bob Arum responded and said they've been going through different managements for a while. They always change their mind. So he basically said that after a while, fighters want to go on their own and do their own thing. But they definitely offered, Top Rank definitely offered Subriel Matias for $3 million. He offered Teofimo Lopez Subriel Matias for $3 million, the most he's ever made in his career. And he ducked that fight. He definitely ducked. Because if he really truly believed in himself, he would have fought Subriel Matias and made a statement before he ended his contract with Top Rank, which is in July 26th. But Bob Arum is alluding to the fact that this 3-fight deal with Turki Alishik, that he's going to do his own thing and he's going to go with a different promoter. They're ending their boxing contract and they're working something out together with Turki Alishik. He says he likes Turki Alishik. Bob Arum said that he likes Turki Alishik. He likes the deal, and the deal looks good, and it's profitable for Teofimo Lopez, and he's just waiting on Teofimo Lopez to make the decision to decide what he's going to do. He said he was going to meet up this Saturday, which already passed. It was yesterday. So supposedly they're supposed to either move on with the deal, or you know how Teofimo Lopez is. He changes his mind like he changes his clothes. He's undecided. He's an undecided person, very confused and delusional, thinking that he deserved the top of the crop when he hasn't even defeated the guy who beat him, Cambosis, at 135. And he hasn't looked dominant in his last 3 fights with Sandor Martin, Jermaine Ortiz, and Claggett, Steve Claggett. Who the hell even knows about Steve Claggett? He's not even a hot commodity. He's not even an elite status fighter. And he made Teofimo Lopez look really, really bad. He hit him a lot, even though Teofimo Lopez won the fight. But he got hit so much, he looked really sloppy in that fight. And the real boxing fans that are not biased, that don't have a relationship with Teofimo Lopez, are going to speak the truth about him. Not like these other people, like Punch Drunk. He likes to, be biased with his opinions because he's close to him. And I feel like, to each his own. If you want to be like everybody else and just, like clickbait and just be on the side of the fighter that you have a relationship with, then you're not being real, like the way he so-called claims he is. But he is not 100% real. If he was, he wouldn't be biased with Teofimo Lopez, and he would call him out for what he actually did by ducking Subriel Matias and actually not looking good in his last 3 fights. Those are things that you just have to call out for what it is. But when you're too close to a boxer, you're going to be, you're going to compromise your opinion if you're not real, if you have no integrity. You're going to compromise your true observation of the fights and what he's done. Let's just be real. Call a spade a spade. But yeah, subscribe to my channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe to that channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Yeah. So I feel like this is going to be the last. These are going to be the last 3 fights. That we're going to see Teofimo Lopez in the top. One of these fighters is going to break the bank. As far as stop the bank with Teofimo Lopez, is going to bring his status down, because I don't think any of these fights are winnable for Teofimo Lopez based on how he has performed in his recent fights. And the only time he looks good is when it's somebody that's inactive for 15 months, like the way Josh Taylor was when Teofimo Lopez decided to fight him. And he's trying to fight Jerron Boots Ennis based on the fact that he didn't look good in his last fight. And that's exactly his track record. That's what my assessment. That's my hypothesis of what I think. Teofimo Lopez is actually doing. He made an assessment. He observed Jerron Boots Ennis in his last fight and saw that he didn't look good in his last fight. So he's assuming that Jerron Boots Ennis doesn't have what it takes to beat him based on his last performance, and he's judging it by that. And that's the reason why he's taking the fight. Not only that, but because he's going to make more money than he's ever made before, more than $3 million, I think. And I think that's the reason why he's taking the fight as well, because he wants to go out with a bang while he loses. Because realistically, he hasn't dominated 140. So how the hell is he going to dominate a more consistent fighter in Jerron Boots Ennis that's been at 147 for a long time, and he has been more consistent than Teofimo Lopez. The track record is different. Track record with Teofimo Lopez is not consistent. Yeah, Young Feast. What's going on, my brother? What's going on, my brother, Young Feast? Subscribe to that channel. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Okay, this is the regular right here. Low Nose Boxing. He's a Teofimo Lopez fan. That's his opinion. He's entitled to it, but he got to take his pom-poms out because, be real. Be subjective about how he's performed in his last 3 fights. Let's be real. He hasn't dominated the 140-pound division. All right, let me see what he says. I'm going to read what he says. Low Nose Boxing. This is what he said. Teo's gonna shock the world again when he wins all of these fights, and y'all gonna get humbled again. All right, that remains to be seen. You're entitled to your opinion. He has not looked good at 147. He has not looked good at 147. And I don't think that the Hitchison fight is an easy fight for him because he struggles with boxers. Teofimo Lopez has struggled with boxers like Jermaine Ortiz, Sando Martin, and the list goes on. Those are 2 fights right now that I think that he struggled with boxers. If he struggled with those boxers at a lower weight class, what makes you think he's not going to struggle with a boxer like Richard Hitchinson in a higher weight class? What makes you think he's not? All right, let me see. This is Low Nose Boxing. Salute to Low Nose Boxing. I appreciate you tuning in, my brother. We may not agree on everything, but I'm gonna call it for what I see, and you have the right to believe whatever you want to believe. But I know that you're just a Teofimo Lopez fan, and you're not looking at all the intangibles about how he's performed and how he's looked recently in the ring. Low Nose Boxing. Teo went against an elite performance to the highest level. Okay, you're saying Teo went against an elite performance to the highest level. Okay, the most elite fighters that he's fought was Lomachenko. That's the past. And what about Josh Taylor? You got to look at the intangibles. You got to look at the different variables. When he fought Josh Taylor, he was inactive for 15 months. You're going to tell me that a fighter that's been inactive for 15 months is the same as a fighter that's consistent, that's constantly active? Do you think that's the same fighter? Josh Taylor was already washed up. He lost his fight before that, and then he hasn't been dominant no more, and then he's been inactive for 15 months, and then when he fought Teofimo Lopez fought him, he was already inactive for 15 months. And he wasn't the same Josh Taylor that he's always been, the consistent Josh Taylor, the one that beat Ragaru, Progress. Like, he has not looked dominant like in a while, and then he was inactive for 15 months, and then that just declined. His skill set was completely minimized because after you're not in the ring for like that long, it definitely affects your timing and your the way you react to combinations, and the way your timing and your rhythm in boxing is affected when you're inactive for that long. But yeah, I appreciate you for tuning in. Young Feast, my brother. This my brother. He's speaking facts, all facts. Y'all like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you, my brother, Young Feast. That's my good brother right there. I met him at a video shoot, in a hip-hop video shoot that he was doing. I supported my brother. And, definitely, like, we supposed to do a collaboration on, like, me and him do music together. Yeah. So, yeah, subscribe to my channel, Young Feast. I appreciate you. Yeah, man, we doing big things in the music. I'm doing songs about what's going on in Puerto Rico, the legal invasion of the United States, the political people behind the United States government and Congress. All those things. It's going to be eradicated because we got a new senator, Eliseo Molina. Y'all got to shout out my people, Eliseo Molina. And I got a music coming out that's talking about that. I sing bomba plena. I sing, I rap also. I do everything. But these 2 new albums, The Essence of Who I Am and Mi Patria, is going to talk about great things about what's going on in Puerto Rico, that what we're going to do to go against the colonization of our island so we could be a sovereign nation. Shout out to Bad Bunny, bringing awareness. But my album's going to bring a lot of awareness. But check it out. Yeah, and I got the essence of who I am, Afro beats, everything. Afro beats, R&B, house music. I got a famous artist going to feature on the album. I don't want to say the name, but you'll find out. Yeah, dedicated to my mother, actually. God rest her soul. Yeah, so back to boxing. Yeah. The GOAT. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. Young Feast, man. One love to you. One love to you. Check out his music. All right. So Low Nose Boxing is a regular. He comes on my channel, and I appreciate him tuning in. And You can subscribe if you want. We may not agree on certain things, but we could do a collaboration one day if you want. And I got nothing but love and respect for you for tuning in and subscribing. It's all love at the end of the day. This is a boxing community, and we should all unite the frequencies in a positive way, create great content for real boxing fans out there that don't normally get this content that's so raw and uncut and unadulterated. And I respect people like No Nose Boxing because he's a passionate content creator. And whether we agree or we don't agree, we definitely don't agree about Teofimo Lopez versus Subriel Matias, which I feel that Subriel Matias will beat him. And then the way he's been looking in his last 3 fights, we don't agree on that. He hasn't been looking dominant in the 140-pound division, and that he only fought 2 elite fighters with some it could be debated, like whether Josh Taylor was completely 100% the way he was, like the way he was before, because 15 months out of the ring affects your timing, affects your rhythm, and he was in decline when he took him. So he took advantage of the fact that he was in decline. And I feel like on paper it looks good, but in reality it's not as good as the way it seems, because there's a lot of different variables, and a real boxing fan that knows what's going on inside the ring with this guy, Josh Taylor, and the way he looked and how consistent he was and how inconsistent he was, you can determine that that wasn't 100% complete dedicated fighter, Josh Taylor, at the time when he fought, because he was not consistent. He was inactive for a while. He wasn't on top of his game. So it was an easier win for Teofimo Lopez. I feel like, okay, Low Nose Boxing saying that he's gonna win all the fights and that he's gonna shut all of us up. I feel that's a stretch. I feel that's a huge stretch, and it's a far stretch, because the way he's looked in his last 3 fights, Teofimo Lopez, for him to be that confident, in spite of him not looking dominant in those last 3 fights with Sandor Martin, Jermaine Ortiz, and Claggett, that shows me that he's a blind fan. He's a really blind fan of Teofimo Lopez. And hey, if you feel like that, I respect you. You're supporting him. You Boricua. You say you Boricua, and shout out to you. But realistically, I feel like it's not. I'm not being biased by picking Subriel Matias versus Teofimo Lopez. I'm doing it based on the track record. Who's more consistent? Teofimo Lopez has not been as consistent as the boxer puncher that he says he is. I don't think he has the same power at 140 that he had at 135. I just feel like a lot of it is psychological. He's not psychologically the same boxer anymore. He's not the same fighter that beat Lomachenko. And another thing, in the 3-fight offer that Turki Alishik offered Teofimo Lopez, he was offered a fight with Kambosos, the guy that beat Teofimo Lopez, and Teofimo Lopez refused that fight. He refused it. He's really starting to show everybody that he don't have what it takes. He's not as confident as he thinks he is. And I know boxing is not an easy sport, but he's showing a lot of frailties in his mindset. Like that's not matching with what he's saying. You could talk a good game that you're the best and you're the best fighter, that you deserve more money, but you got to prove it in the ring. You lost a lot of momentum. Teofimo Lopez lost a lot of momentum in his last 3 fights. He should have kept the momentum going with Subriel Matias. Why he didn't take the fight? Because he's afraid to lose at the stage that he's at. He wants to lose at a higher stage where he can make the most money. So it's like insurance for him. Like he said, he wanted insurance for fighting Subriel Matias at Madison Square Garden. If he's gonna fight him he don't have a title. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I feel like him not having a title won't extend his boxing contract with Top Rank. But it's not about that anymore. That's what it looks like. It looks like Turki Alishik is buying out his contract because they're gonna give him 3 tough fights. Like Teofimo Lopez has been getting the easiest fights possible with Top Rank. They did him a favor by giving him Claggett, Jermaine Ortiz. It was supposed to be an easier fight for Teofimo Lopez based on what Teofimo Lopez claims, that he deserves to fight the best because he's the best and he deserves to get paid more. But based on the fact that he hasn't looked dominant with Sandor Martin and he hasn't followed the momentum after he lost to Kambosos or rematched with Kambosos, they gave him the easiest fights possible, even though those fights are not as easy as he thought it was going to be. but those were the easiest fights based on the status that he claims that he's at, that he deserves to be at the elite level, getting paid the most, and based on the fact that he beat Lomachenko. Based on that, those fights were supposed to be walk in the park compared to Lomachenko, right? That's what but those fights were not walk in the parks. Teofimo Lopez looked bad in those three fights. He lost. I think he got outboxed by I think he got outboxed by German Ortiz. He definitely. A lot of people unanimously believe that. A lot of pure boxing fans believe that he lost the Sandor Martin fight. He lost the Jermaine Ortiz fight. And the Steve Claggett fight, of course he won it, but he didn't look dominant. And Steve Claggett, like in Bob Abrams' words, is no Superman. For him to look like that, like not dominant like that, I mean, after a while, if you want to get paid more money, they want to put you in tougher fights so you could get paid the more money. And that's what they did with Subriel Matias. They offered him a Subriel Matias fight because they said, okay, you haven't looked dominant in your last three fights, but we're going to give you a fight that's worth more money because Subriel Matias is consistent. He has 21 knockouts in all his wins, and he is dominant as far as his wins, right? And he is the fighter who everybody expects him to be. In the ring, the only time that he gave us a performance that we didn't expect him to lose was with Liam Paro, but it was a close fight, and I feel like it was boxing politics behind that, where they worked out something where if Subriel Matias made Eddie Hearn's fighter look better and doesn't try to win, they're going to give Subriel Matias his own pay-per-view, and they gave him more money, and then his stock went up. That's politics. They do that with smaller promotion boxers that are promoted on smaller promotions with Puerto Rico promotions like Subriel Matias. That's what they did. Let me read the comments. Okay, Keith's Boxing Gym Talk. Shout out to Keith's Boxing Gym Talk. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Subscribe to that channel. He says he knows he doesn't have it anymore. So he's trying to hold on to that lineal title to make it seem like he's the man, knowing he has no intentions of fighting anyone in the pound for pound. Facts, brother, facts. You see what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. We resonating. The real people that really know, that are not biased, they just follow boxing, they're pure boxing fans. They're not boxing fans. They're not race fans. They're boxing fans. They just love great boxing fights. Don't matter what race. As long as it's a good fight, support it. Don't make it about race. As Teofimo Lopez is saying, to Andre Ward, are you going to put me in your show even though I'm not black? I'm like, come on, man. He put Edgar Berlanga in his interview. Why would you say something like that? Yeah, true. Let me read what else. Keith's Boxing Gym Talk. I appreciate you, my brother. I'm going to read your comment right now. He lost to Ortiz. So they found Claggett because he comes forward with a high guard. Exactly. They found the easiest opponent available because they know he hasn't been dominant with boxers. He struggles with boxers. So what makes low-nose boxing think that that Teofimo Lopez is gonna beat all these fighters? Jerome Boots Ennis at 147 and Richard Hitchinson at 140. I mean, Richard Hitchinson don't have no power, but he does have skills. He has a lot of skills, and he has a great defense, and he throws a lot of combinations. But he did duck Subriel Matias. Let's not let him get away with that either. He did duck Subriel Matias. He was like, I got to be 100% for Subriel Matias because he's relentless. He said that he didn't like the weight clause deal with the IBF. But, like, if you're a boxer, man, you're supposed to make weight. That's part of box. That's part of the IBF rules. You got to make weight. But you're able to make weight with Liam Bottle, huh? Oh, but because you don't have no power. But Subriel Matias, you was weary and leery about the fact that Subriel Matias has power. So you didn't want to take that fight. So there's a lot of different double sides, like double standards. But I know that Teofimo Lopez does struggle with boxers like Richardson Hitchens and Jerome Boots Ennis. Forget about it. Like if he goes up in weight to fight Jerome Boots Ennis, he's only doing it based on the fact that he didn't look good in his last fight, and he thinks that it's a winnable fight for him. He's a cheater. Teofimo Lopez is an undercover cheater. But I don't see it as undercover because I see right through that I see right through his lies. Even with his Count Dracula smile. His fake Count Dracula smile. Even with that, I'm like, come on, man. You don't fool me with that phony, hypocritical smile. You just saying the right things for the camera. But you know damn well you've been avoiding the big top dogs, the top dangerous fighters like Subriel Matias. You want to fight the top dogs that you know that they're going to guarantee you the fight, but you're not really guaranteed to win because you know in your mind, in your heart of hearts, that you have not been dominant at 140, Teofimo Lopez. So you know for a fact you ain't gonna dominate Richardson Hitchens. You probably feel it's safe because he don't hit hard, but it's still a fight that it's not that winnable for you. And I feel like the Jerome Boots Ennis fight, that's insane. I think Jerome Boots Ennis is definitely gonna dominate you. If you don't get dominated by Richard Hitchison first, they're probably going to give you a robbery victory, maybe. I don't know. But it depends on Turki Alishik, who they think is more marketable. Because it's all about marketing, business. You know what I mean? Let me read the comment. Keith Boxing Gym Talk. He lost to Ortiz, so they found Clag. Oh, yeah, I read that already. Yeah, I read that. Yeah, subscribe to my channel. Tony also knows boxing. Subscribe to my channel. Tony also knows boxing. I keep it real over here. No lies, no faking jacks. We do things. We bring the truth back because they're trying to take the truth away. We bring the truth back. No faking jacks. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. So and then the last fight with Devin Haney, which Devin Haney is reported to be fighting, I think, Ryan Garcia. I don't know what that circus is about. Like, 1 minute they say Ryan Garcia is going to fight him. 1 minute they say no, that he's going to fight Rolly Romero. That's one of the last things I heard. That's really ridiculous. Like, Rolly Romero doesn't deserve a title shot. He's a bum. He got the title by robbery. The guy that was supposed to win was the Venezuelan guy that fought him, and for some reason he retired. We didn't see that guy anymore. So boxing politics, and I feel like Devin Haney is, we don't know what Devin Haney's gonna come back in the ring. We really don't know if it's gonna be the Devin Haney that before he got knocked out with by Ryan Garcia, who used steroids, to actually have more strength and more power. Either way, if they say that he still got hit with that shot, that La Hoya said he still got hit with the shot, but you have more strength when you're taking steroids, let's not disregard that either. Yeah, so I feel like, who else I'm excited about? I'm excited about Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis. Mark that in your calendar. He's fighting in February. I said it in my previous videos when he's fighting. Check it out. And I put all the fights that are happening in February, all like 3 fights. I feel like Bob Arum is I guess he's promoting a fight with Keyshawn Davis and what's that guy? His name is he's he's not Russian. He's from that country next to Russia. What's that country Lisa next to Russia? Everybody's fighting about. He's from Lomachenko's country. So yeah, so they're fighting in February he's fighting for a title. Keyshawn Davis is fighting for a title. He is undefeated. Both of them are undefeated, and I feel like Bob Arum was promoting the fight. He said that it's not an easy fight. It's not an easy fight. It's not an easy fight for Keyshawn Davis. Ukraine. The guy's from the Ukraine. So yeah. So the guy that he's fighting is undefeated. He's from Ukraine. The last time he fought, he beat Navarrete. Navarrete was the Mexican American, now Mexican from Mexico. I love the way he fights. I think he was robbed, and they gave the fight to the Ukrainian because now they're doing that for the Ukrainians. They're giving them the benefit of the doubt even when they lose. I feel like they're doing that in boxing politics. Even with when Usyk last fight with Tyson Fury, I think Tyson Fury won that fight. They robbed Tyson Fury. He was destroying him with the jab, but they gave the fight to Usyk. So I just don't get it. It's not right. I feel like give the victory to the right fighter, please. Do boxing a good service. And yeah, so that fight with Keyshawn Davis, he's gonna fight what's his name? Somebody help me over here with his name. He has an exotic name. He's from the Ukraine. Help me with his name. Boachik, something Boachik. I probably butchered his name, but my bad. I didn't mean to do that. The name is very exotic. Ukrainian name. So yeah, he's fighting that guy that I think should have lost to Navarrete. to Emmanuel Navarrete. I think they robbed Emmanuel Navarrete. Honestly, I really feel like he was robbed. And he has no he has technique, but he gets hit. He was hit by Navarrete. Navarrete he's a relentless puncher. He's similar to Subriel as far as the relentlessness, but he's very wide and telegraphic with his combination. Subriel Matias is not wide with his combination. Subriel Matias has undermined skills. He has underrated skills. Got underrated boxing defense. He's not a Bernal Whitaker or Mayweather, but he has underrated boxing skills. Subriel Matias. He reminds Emmanuel Navarrete reminds me of a less skilled Subriel Matias. He throws a lot of combinations. He's relentless and he has a strong will, typical Mexican style. And he throws a lot of haymakers, but a lot of times they get through because a lot of fighters get overwhelmed by the relentlessness of Emmanuel Navarrete. And I feel like he was doing enough to beat Poetchik, whatever his name is from the Ukraine. I forgot his name. Somebody should help me here in the comments when you get a chance. But I'm not saying he's not a good fighter. Don't know too much about him. Only when he fought Emmanuel Navarrete. And I feel like that Emmanuel Navarrete should still be the champion, but they gave the fight to the Ukrainian that's going to fight Sean Davis in February. Yes, mark your calendars. It's going to be a great boxing fight card in February. Also, Xander Zayas. Xander Zayas is fighting an undefeated German fighter that I never heard of, but you know what? I guess they're not pushing him as fast as they should. They're not believing that he could fight Fundora. I feel like if Top Rank really believed in his skill set and believed in the fighter, they would put him in with somebody like Fundora. But I get it. Sometimes they want to take their time and give them the fights to give them more confidence and make them elevate their game, give them a little bit more experience. But I feel like he's been fighting those kind of fighters, like, you know, not in the top 10 for a while. I think the last fighter that he beat, the Mexican guy, I think he was a top 5 or top 10. But he needs to fight more fighters that are, you know, a little bit higher level and to show that they really believe in Xander Zayas. Because Xander Zayas, I truly believe that he's got the skills and he's got the heart to have a long career. But he has a lot of competition in that weight class. In that weight class, I think it's 154. I mean, you know, he's got Crawford. I mean, Crawford's not going to fight Xander Zayas. He's going to fight it's boxing business. He's going to fight Canelo. Do you guys think the fans really want a Canelo versus Crawford fight? Let's be realistic. Nobody was thinking about Canelo and Crawford until Crawford mentioned it because Crawford wanted to step up his game to make more money, actually, because, you know, like, he's 36 years old and he's fought great fighters. He's fought Sean Porter, Errol Spence. He fought Kell Brooks, Amir Khan. Canelo did it and made them go up 3 weight classes, Kell Brooks and Amir Khan. So you can't say that Crawford hasn't fought anybody. Crawford fought them in a weight that they were really comfortable in, Kell Brooks and Amir Khan. And Sean Porter and Errol Spence. You know, you could say the same thing about Canelo, man. He only convincingly beat 3 elite fighters. He beat Golovkin, Daniel Jacobs, and let me see who else. Golovkin, Daniel Jacobs, and Caleb Plant. But other than that, he hasn't dominated anybody else that was legitimately in the same weight class as him. Like, you can't even count the Charlo fight. The Charlo fight, he came from 3 weight classes too going up. I feel like, you know, Canelo's a cheater, man. He should fight David Benavidez. I feel like he is doing a disservice to the boxing fans. And the business of boxing is messing up the hardcore fans that the true boxing fans want to see. Because, yes, Turki Alishik is making the big fights for the names, as far as the top names. Like, yeah, but they're making it harder for the fighters that are not so famous, but they're famous to the hardcore boxing fans to make those fights. They're making it harder. But they like fights like Benavidez versus Canelo. That's a fight in the same weight class. And why is it okay for Canelo to move up in weight and fight Kovalev, a washed up Kovalev that's 36 years old at the time and was way beyond far from his prime? He wasn't the same fighter. Why is it okay for him to do that? But then he can't fight Benavidez, David Benavidez, a young, hungry lion, Benavidez, who's been ranked #1 in Canelo's weight class for 3 years, and Canelo avoided that fight. And then he's willing to entertain the Crawford fight. The only reason why the Crawford fight is gonna do good is because of the name. But it's not a realistic fight for true hardcore boxing fans that want to see an even playing field, legitimate contest at the same weight class. That's why there's weight classes for a reason. So I feel like Canelo didn't even want Crawford because he said, "Oh, I'm not gonna get any credit to make that if I beat him." So Canelo knows there's a lot of money involved, and Canelo knows that Turki Alishik is gonna offer the most money, and so does Crawford. But at the same time, he knows that he might have an advantage over Crawford big time with the weight. That will be based on his weight. He's a weight bully. That will be based on his weight that he will win that fight. But I truly feel that it's possible for Crawford to actually win that fight. But he has to fight the 100% perfect fight. So that way he dominates him with the movement and boxing ability. But Canelo even said it. The reason why he took the fight is because he saw that Buck Crawford doesn't move like the way he moved in the lower weight classes, that he's willing to fight. But you see the preferences and the comfortability, that Canelo wants to have. That's not greatness. If you're a great fighter, you're willing to be in an uncomfortable position and prove what you're made of, and not look for the easy way to win a fight so you could get the victory. That's bull. I feel like Canelo is just trying to be comfortable and trying to win the fights the best way he could, the easiest way he could, and he's looking at it like a businessman. He's not really looking at it like a great, like, I want to see if I can really achieve this. I want to challenge. He don't really want to challenge Canelo. He don't really want to challenge. If he really wanted to challenge, he would take the David Benavidez fight. I said a lot. But yeah, subscribe to my channel. Tony also knows boxing. Subscribe to that channel. Tony also knows boxing. What do you think? Does Teofimo Lopez win one of these fights, the 3 fights that's being offered to him by Turki Alishik? Or do you think he loses all 3 fights? I'm going to go on a limb and say he might win the Hitchinson fight. I say that's a 50-50 fight, but I feel like I lean more towards Richard Hitchinson, because Teofimo Lopez has struggled with boxing. He has struggled with boxing. So I feel like if I really wanted to follow my heart and my mind partially, but more my heart, I would definitely say that he loses the Richard Hitchinson fight for sure. But I think he might have a chance with that fight. But the Drambus Ennis, Devin Haney's chin is questionable, so I see why he would want to fight him. But we don't know the Devin Haney that we're gonna see now after they gave him his undefeated record back, and I don't know. But all I'm saying is that he definitely could lose the first 2 fights. He could definitely lose the first 2 fights with Hitchinson and Drambus Ennis for sure, definitely. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that he loses the first 2 fights, or one of the first 2 fights. And the Devin Haney fight is very questionable with what Devin Haney's gonna have, and his mental state, how it's gonna be. And I don't know. His chin has never been the greatest, but has Teofimo Lopez ever been dominant at 140 to actually do any damage? No, he hasn't. So I think he might lose all 3 fights. There's a big possibility. But he's not gonna be. It's not gonna be a flawless victory in those 3 fight offers. They're not easy. They want Teofimo Lopez to start having tough fights, because he's been having a lot of gimme fights by a lot of favorites from Top Rank, and they want to see him actually test himself. That's why they offer Subriel Matias. He refused that. He's scared of lose to Subriel Matias. I get it. And then now they're offering these 3 fight deals that Top Rank agreed to, and he's waiting on Teofimo Lopez to decide, because it's not the balls in his court. So yeah, he's waiting on that. But yeah, subscribe to my channel. Tony also knows boxing. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think in the comments. Subscribe. Click that like button. Click that like button. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate everybody supporting the channel. One love. Tony also knows boxing. Subscribe to that channel. One love. Peace.